This is Neo and Jiho, Part 41. Remember to subscribe and tap the notification bell. The office felt alive with movement. News of Jiho's engagement had spread everywhere by now, and almost every corner of Kang Group was buzzing. Assistants carried files quickly through the corridors. The phones at reception never stopped ringing, and in the architecture wing, Neo's office had turned into a small hub of attention. Jiho stood at the window of his office for a long time after the board members left. Across the glass hall, he could see her, his Neo. She was bent forward at her desk, her pencil moving fast across the paper. Sheets of sketches were spread everywhere, covering the desk like white wings. She looked so focused that she didn't even notice people passing by her glass walls, pausing to smile and wave in congratulations. For a moment, Jiho simply watched her. Pride swelled inside him. This wasn't just his fiancée. This was the head of architecture, the woman who had earned her place through brilliance and hard work. And she carried his children in her womb. He pulled away when his secretary, Min Young, knocked on the door. "Sir, Mr. Kang," she corrected herself quickly, "the board members have asked if you might gather them, even for a short while, to make the exit of Mr. Han formal." Jiho nodded. He already expected this. "Set it for this afternoon, nothing long, nothing heavy, just to stabilize everything." "Yes, sir." She bowed and left. Inside Neo's office, the atmosphere was different. She had already corrected 6 sketches in under an hour. One junior architect who brought them in stood frozen, his mouth open, watching as she moved her pencil with sharp precision. "This line doesn't fit the measurements you wrote here," Neo explained, pointing at the figure. "If you carry it up, the roofline won't hold. Do it this way." She drew quickly, her hand confident, and passed the page back. The young man blinked, stunned. Head architect Neo, this is perfect. Thank you." Neo smiled softly. "It's your work. I'm only showing you another way. Try again with confidence." When he left, another 2 came in, this time with larger plans. Neo asked them calm, professional questions. "What is the structure of the land? Is it rocky or soft? Did you measure the buildings nearby? If there is wind pressure here, how will you handle it?" The men answered quickly, but they were sweating a little under her clear gaze. Still, Neo's corrections were not harsh. She gave advice with kindness, drawing smooth lines, flipping through her laptop to check details, then pushing the papers back toward them. By now, word had spread. Working with Neo wasn't only efficient, it was like receiving a lesson from a master. At noon, Jiho finally stepped into her office. He leaned on the doorframe, his presence filling the room. Neo looked up, startled, then smiled tiredly. "You're still working?" he asked softly. Neo set her pencil down. "Just finishing this batch. They brought more than expected." Jiho walked over, placing his hand lightly on her shoulder. "Neo, you don't have to do everything in one day. Remember, you promised me and grandmother you won't overwork. You're carrying more than just sketches." Neo gave him a playful look. "I know, but you said yourself, we must respect the work when it comes. And besides," she tapped her stomach lightly, "they'll grow up proud knowing their mother didn't give up on her work." Jiho sighed, but his eyes softened. "At least let me stay with you while you finish. You look too beautiful to be locked away here alone." He bent lower, his lips close to her ear. "For you, it's always the time." Neo swatted at him, cheeks warm. But the stress she had been holding melted at his words. She leaned back into his presence for a moment, grateful. Then she turned, eyes narrowing in mock seriousness. "Jiho Kang," she teased, "you crave me more than food." The words hit him deeper than she expected. His lips parted, his breath catching, and suddenly his hand moved from her shoulder to the small of her back. He shut the door behind him with a soft click, the office falling into an intimate silence. Before she could react, he stepped closer, his body surrounding hers, and calmly pinned her against the wall. Not roughly, but with a quiet authority that made her heart pound. His voice dropped low, trembling with intensity. "You are to blame," he whispered, his forehead brushing hers. "Even just looking at you is enough to open every cable in my body." Neo's breath hitched. She felt his nearness, his warmth, his words weaving with the undeniable reaction of his body pressing so close. Her voice quivered as she whispered, "Jiho, you can't." That broke him. Her plea jolted through the haze of longing. Jiho blinked, forced a breath, and stepped back, dragging a hand through his hair as though trying to cool the fire in his chest. They locked eyes for a moment, both shaken, both needing to regain control, and then, suddenly, they burst into laughter. Childlike, uncontrollable laughter, the kind that erased the heavy tension. Jiho poked her side, Neo swatted him back. They ended up chasing each other around the desk like teenagers in love, their voices echoing softly in the polished office. Neo collapsed into the chair, still laughing, holding her stomach. "It's dangerous to work near you." Jiho leaned on the desk, his grin wide, his eyes still carrying that dangerous heat. "Same thought I had," he replied, his voice soft but playful. The laughter lingered until her phone buzzed sharply on the table. The sound cut through the air like a bell, snapping them both back into reality. Neo reached for it, still smiling, her cheeks flushed pink. The moment had passed, but its sweetness stayed. And with that, the rest of the day continued exactly as before. Neo returning to her sketches, Jiho steady beside her until the board members called him for the meeting. Later in the afternoon, Jiho gathered the board members. The conference room was polished, the long table gleaming under the lights. Around it sat the men and women who had worked with his family for years. Jiho stood at the head. His voice was calm, steady. "Thank you for coming. I wanted to make Mr. Han's decision official in front of all of us. He has sold his shares. A replacement will be appointed in due time, but for now, our priority is stability." One senior member spoke up. "Mr. Kang, may I say, we are grateful for the way you are handling this." Quietly, with respect, no scandal. Applause broke out. Not loud, but respectful. The meeting ended without friction. Everyone left with quiet confidence. Back in her office, Neo had finally leaned back in her chair, stretching her arms. Jiho returned, finding her eyes closed, exhaustion painted across her face. "That's enough," he said gently. "No more today." Neo opened one eye, smiling. "Let's go home." She gathered her papers reluctantly, but when his arm slid around her, steady and warm, she leaned into him without resistance. Together they walked down the hallway, past curious staff who smiled and bowed. The couple looked every inch what they were, leaders, partners, soon to be husband and wife. The study room felt alive that evening. The golden lamplight reflected off polished wood, and stacks of magazines and papers lay open across the desk. Neo sat with her pencil tapping lightly, while Tumi scrolled through names on a notepad. Neo's face was calm, but her heart beat faster than usual. She looked at her sister. "Tumi, are we ready? Once we make this call, there's no turning back." Tumi grinned, her afro curls bouncing as she nodded. "We are ready. We must be. It's not just a wedding, Neo. It's our family's honor. Let's call Uncle Molefe." Neo dialed slowly, her thumb hesitating over the last number. But when she pressed it, the ringing filled the silence. One ring, two, three. Then the deep, warm voice they had missed for so long came through. "Dumilang, Ngwanaka! Dumilang, my children!" The sisters froze, their eyes filling with sudden tears. His voice carried not only joy, but the weight of years of family love. Neo whispered, her throat tight. "Dumala Ramolefe, it is me, Neo, and Tumi is here." "Neo Molefe! Tumi Molefe!" he shouted with joy, as though the whole yard in Botswana needed to hear. "Hey, my daughters! My heart is alive today! Tell me, how is Korea? How is life? How is your health?" Tumi leaned in, unable to keep still. "Uncle, we are well. Jiho takes care of us. But we are calling you for something important." The uncle's tone shifted, becoming quieter, tender. "Anything, Ngwanaka, speak." Neo inhaled, then said it. "Uncle, in a few days I am getting married, and I want no one else but you to walk me down the aisle. You are the one I see for this." The line went silent. For a moment, Neo thought the call had dropped. Then came a sound they had never heard from their uncle. A sob. "Hey, Ngwanaka, what honor is this?" My brother, your father, will smile in his grave. I will do it. I will stand with you. You have given me a gift greater than gold. You have brought pride to our name." Neo's lips trembled. Tumi covered her mouth, tears spilling. "We knew you would say yes, Uncle, we knew." From the background, another voice called out, a woman, firm and loving. "Kemang-o, who is it?" Uncle laughed through his tears. "It is Neo. It is Tumi. They are calling from Korea." Auntie's voice rang out with excitement. "Hey, baeng bagagwe, my children, Neo, Tumi, ke alirata." The sisters laughed, wiping their eyes. "Auntie, we love you too." Soon another voice shouted, then another. The phone was passed around like a treasure. Everyone wanted to greet them. "Neo, Tumi, we heard the news. Is it true you are getting married in Korea? Bring us there, Nangwanaka. We will dance for you." The sisters laughed through the tears until Uncle's voice returned, steadying the moment. "Now, tell me, who else do you want us to come with?" Neo glanced at Tumi, then said carefully, "Uncle, we thought 3 uncles, 2 aunties, 3 cousins, and our pastor with his wife. That makes 10. Do you agree?" Uncle Molefe hummed. Yes, that is balanced. I will ask Radlamini and Rankube, your father's closest friends and brothers. For the aunties, Madame Kagosi and Madame Naledi. They are here already, and they are dancing as we speak. For cousins, Kagiso, Boitumelo, and Lebogang. And yes, Pastor Empho and his wife. They must be there. They prayed for this day. Tumi clapped her hands. "Uncle, you have finished the list for us." Everyone laughed, but then Uncle sighed. "Only one matter, Ngwanaka. I have my passport, but these others, they live in the village. Some do not even know where to begin." There was quiet. Neo's voice was steady but warm. "Uncle, don't worry. I will send the money. Tomorrow, take all of them to the passport office. They will make express passports. All we need are their names. Jiho will handle everything in Korea, the visas, the tickets, all of it. You just give us the list." Gasps filled the line. "Hey!" an auntie cried. "Neo, Nwanaka, you are carrying us on your back. You are blessing us." Uncle's voice cracked again. "Hey, Nwanaka, you carry the heart of your mother and father, always thinking of others. Thank you. We thank you." Suddenly, a cousin shouted in the background. "Wait, if we get passports, who will milk the cows when we are gone?" Laughter exploded on both sides of the call. Auntie shouted back, "Oh, Sekawa Chwenya! You will not milk cows at a wedding!" Another cousin teased, "If I get a passport, I'm not coming back. I will find a husband in Korea." The study room roared with laughter. Neo almost fell from her chair, clutching her stomach. "Please, cousin, just come for the wedding first." Even Uncle laughed so hard he could barely speak. "You see what I deal with? These children?" Finally, his tone grew serious again. "I will gather them tonight. In 1 hour, I will call them myself. Tomorrow morning, we will all go to the passport office. We will send you the names, and by tomorrow evening, the passport numbers will be ready." Neo wiped her eyes, still smiling. "Thank you, Uncle. You don't know how much this means." Uncle's voice dropped into a deep, fatherly tone. "I do know, Nangwanaka. On that day, I will walk you proudly. Your father will walk with us in spirit, and the whole family will stand behind you." Tumi pressed closer to the phone. "We love you, Uncle." "And I love you too, Nangwanaka. Rest now. Prepare. We will take care of this side. You take care of your heart." The call ended, but the study room glowed as if filled with light. The sisters sat quietly for a moment, hearts pounding with joy. Their family would come. Their roots would stand with them. They woke up, and now were driving to Late Kang's grave for a prayer just as grandmother had advised yesterday. The villa gates opened slowly behind them as Jiho steered the sleek black sedan out onto the long road that curved toward the outskirts of the city. Neo sat quietly beside him, her hand resting protectively over her stomach, her eyes watching the fields and hills glide past through the window. Grandmother had insisted the night before that before the wedding, before the arrival of more family, before the many preparations that would swallow the coming days, they should first honor Jiho's late father. The drive was silent at first. Jiho's jaw was tight, his hands steady on the wheel, but Neo could feel his tension. She wanted to speak, to ease the weight, but something told her to let him have this silence. The closer they got, the heavier his breathing seemed to become. When they turned into the cemetery road, lined with tall pines, Neo felt Jiho's grip on the wheel tighten. They drove slowly, the morning sun filtering through the branches, casting shadows across the path. Finally, Jiho pulled the car to a stop near the graveyard entrance. And then he saw it. From the distance, at the stone that marked his father's resting place, there were fresh flowers. Not just any flowers. White lilies, carefully arranged, their stems still glistening as though they had been watered not long ago. Jiho's brow furrowed, his chest tightening with a sudden flood of emotions. He turned the engine off, but instead of stepping out immediately, he reached for his phone. He dialed quickly. The call connected almost instantly. "Jiho," Jiho said quietly, his eyes still fixed on the flowers. "Yes, Jiho?" Taeho's deep voice answered, calm as always. "There are fresh flowers on Father's grave. They weren't there yesterday. Someone's been here. I don't know who. But I saw a car leaving the grounds as we arrived." There was silence for a moment on the line, then Taeho's voice lowered. "Don't approach them now. Don't let Neo worry. Do something first. Look at your wrist, your watch. Press the green button twice." Jiho glanced down at the sleek watch around his wrist. His thumb hovered over the small green circle, then pressed it once, twice. A faint light blinked under the glass. "Now hold your hand near the flowers," Taeho instructed. "It will scan. The system will pick up chemical traces. Fingerprints, oils, soil residue, anything that can tell us who placed them." Jiho exhaled slowly. "You think it was intentional?" "I don't think," Taeho replied evenly. "I confirm. Someone wanted to be there before you arrived. I'll check the satellite later. For now, scan them and leave the rest to me." Jiho ended the call, his heart heavier but steadier. He slipped the phone back into his pocket and finally opened the car door. Neo looked at him questioningly but said nothing when he nodded faintly. She understood. Some things between him and Taeho were unspoken, matters of protection, of security, of shadows that followed them everywhere. They walked together toward the grave, Jiho's hand tightening around Neo's. The closer they came, the more Jiho's chest burned with emotion. The stone was simple, gray marble polished smooth, the name of Kang Jun-ho carved deep, the dates etched with precision. His father, his anchor, his ghost. Jiho bent low, his hand brushing the cold surface of the stone. For a moment he said nothing, only breathed. Then Neo gently touched his arm. "We came to pray," she whispered softly. He nodded, kneeling down fully before the stone. Neo knelt beside him, her hands folding together over her stomach. Together they bowed their heads. Jiho spoke first. His voice was steady, though his chest trembled. "Father, it's me, Jiho. I bring Neo, the woman I love. I bring her here so that you may see, even from where you are, that I am not alone anymore. You gave me strength when I was young, though you left too soon. And everything I have built with your lessons buried in my heart. Today, I ask you to bless this path I walk, to bless Neo and the children she carries. May they never know loneliness. May they never know fear. May they never doubt they are loved." Neo's eyes filled as Jiho's words flowed. She bowed her head deeper, her lips trembling as she began her own prayer. "Father Kang, I never knew you, but I feel your presence through your son. He is the man I prayed for all my life. I promise you before God and before this stone I will honor him. I will stand by him. I will care for him. And I will raise your grandchildren with the same strength that you gave him. Please look upon us with mercy. Guide us, and be near us as we build this family." Her voice cracked, and tears slipped down her cheeks. Jiho reached for her hand, gripping it tightly. Then grandmother's voice filled Jiho's memory, the words she had spoken the night before, the reminder that honoring the dead was as sacred as living rightly. Jiho closed his eyes and spoke again, this time almost like a whisper carried on the wind. Father, forgive me for the times I forgot you. Forgive me for the bitterness I carried. I was angry when you left. I was angry when I had to grow without you. But now I see, you never truly left. You live in me. You live in the family I am building. Rest well. Your son is no longer alone. Silence held them both. Only the wind moved, carrying the faint fragrance of the lilies, carrying away their prayers into the unseen. As they stood, Jiho's eyes flicked once more to the fresh flowers. The watch on his wrist blinked faintly, signaling the scan had completed. He clenched his jaw, his mind returning to the image of that departing car. Neo squeezed his arm. Jiho, she whispered, your heart feels heavy. He forced a smile, brushing her cheek softly. It's nothing, my love. We've prayed. That is enough. But inside, his mind turned over questions like stones. Who had been here? Why now, of all times? As they walked back to the car,